Welcome to Down with Yami, the podcast where we celebrate the journey of special needs parents. I'm Yami, your host, and I'm excited to share my journey with you. Whether you're looking for support, inspiration, or just a community that understands, you're in the right place. Remember, you're not alone, and together we can talk about our tears, triumphs, and everything in between. So settle in and let's get down to it with today's episode of Down with Yami. Welcome back to Down with Yami. I am your host, Yami. And in today's episode, we are diving into a deeply emotional and important topic finding hope in grief, especially when it comes to motherhood and loss. I'm honored to have Saadia with me today. We first crossed paths during her pregnancy when she reached out to me after her Down syndrome diagnosis. And it was definitely a time filled with uncertainty and difficult decisions. I remember how brave she was when I first spoke with her. Saadia, I just want to thank you for joining us today. Can you just take everyone back to the moment when you reached out to me?
Thank you so much for inviting me. In April of 2021, I found out that I was pregnant at 4 weeks. I believe for a long time that I was infertile because I do have an older child. So for a long time, I did not have a successful pregnancy. In about 12 to 16 weeks, you go in to get a blood test. And I remember the blood work coming back more than 80% of a high chance of my baby being born with Down syndrome. I didn't know what that future would look like. I didn't know much about children being born with Down syndrome. So I went on social media and I typed in Down syndrome. A lot of people of color did not come up in that search. However, Yami did come out, and I was very, very excited because I did want to speak to a mother of a brown baby. I reached out to her. I was very, very nervous because I didn't know what to do. The next step was to get an amniocentesis or another procedure, but I don't think that I was able to get that because I was close to 20 weeks. So before I reached out to Yami, I did get an amniocentesis about maybe 20 weeks, and that did come back 100% positive that my baby boy would be born with Down syndrome. I reached out to Yami and I was very hesitant because I didn't know how she would take the message from Instagram, but I really needed to know what that future would look like because I had a decision to make. Was I going to keep my baby boy? Was I going to terminate the pregnancy? Was I going to opt out into adoption when full term came? I didn't know what to do. I spoke to Yami. She was very polite. She was very sincere. For some reason, it felt right. Like she was the right person to talk to. We spoke through DM for a while and then we exchanged phone numbers and she briefly shared her story with me and it was very heartfelt. I cried. It was very emotional. After our conversation, I did have a talk with God and I made the decision to keep my baby boy.
I definitely remember when you called me. It was early in the morning, I believe, or you might have messaged me the night before, but I received your message early in the morning. Noah had went to school. So I remember when you reached out and I'm not exactly sure how the conversation went, but you said you had some questions regarding Down syndrome. And I said, sure. One thing about me, I don't care what time it is. Anyone that reaches out to me that's pregnant and just received the Down syndrome diagnosis, I will make the time because I know how that feels. I know we can't have it wait another second, another minute. We want information like right now. So I always put myself in others' mothers' shoes because I was there. I felt that anxiety and just that need to know what is going to be like. So when you reached out, I said, I'm available. I remember I was on my way here. Actually, we were doing renovations and I spoke with you. And we spoke for like a very
long time.
Yeah, about at least an hour we spoke. And you had a lot of questions for me.
Yeah, I wanted to look like what would the future hold. When I did do research online, I learned that a lot of babies born with Down syndrome do have heart conditions where they require several surgeries. They may have an intellectual disability. They may have some physical disability. It was a lot to process because I was very excited about this pregnancy. And I knew he was a boy from the sonogram, like the face structure.
Did you want a boy?
No, I wanted a girl.
You wanted a girl? Okay. I wanted a girl with Noah. I got a boy. And now, honestly, I can't even see myself with a daughter.
I felt the same. I fell in love with the little boy. Like the sonogram, he was just sucking his thumb in a few of them. Like I was like, he's really chilling in my womb, just comfortable. Like he was like this, and I'm like, and then it was like when they did the 3D, it was something about his nose. Like I just remember in his lips that was like so full like mine. And I was just like, I love this boy. He don't even know me. I don't know him, but I want him really, really bad. And I was just ready to take on that journey. But I know it was so important for me to find a mother of color to speak to because she would understand what we would go through. I'm not taking away from the other races who have to deal with babies being born to Down syndrome, but that was really, really significant. And I thank God that I was able to find Yami. We've been friends since 2021.
Yes.
Like it's 2025 and we still on this journey. And I love to see like Noah's modeling. This is so beautiful. Inclusivity is so amazing. And I love how you advocate for him. I love how you advocate for other moms, even of other races. You did the Mattel collection with Barbie. And it's like I'm living through you guys.
I remember being very honest with you about the expectations of having a child with Down syndrome, Noah's heart surgeries and things like that. I felt that it was important for you to know when you make that decision, you need to be open and be ready to accept the assignment. No matter how bad it is, you have to be willing and able because there's no going back. Yeah. So I wanted to give you as much information because back then I don't think things with Noah were that great. I was still at the hospital on a regular and he was going through procedures also. So it's not where we are now where he hasn't really been hospitalized. He's modeling and things like that. We didn't get to that point yet. So I did want to be honest with you as far as the responsibility that came with that. And back to what you were saying that you wanted to identify with someone of color. I completely understand what you mean by that because when I got my diagnosis, I went on YouTube and everyone that I saw was not of color. Like if you back then, because things have changed dramatically. And the crazy part is that before my diagnosis, I hardly saw anyone with Down syndrome.
Me too.
And then when I received it, I was bumping into people at the grocery store, yes,
Dollar Tree. I was like, oh my God. Yes. I just kept seeing. And I remember what really stood out was none of my doctors or nurses were giving me information. To me, I'm going to be honest, it came across as they were really trying to persuade me to move forward with a termination. When we would have conversations, especially the nurses, they did not seem like they was in support. It was just like, well, boys born with Down syndrome may be infertile and have a low sperm count, so they may not be able to have kids. And I didn't even have the baby yet, and I just felt like every appointment was really focused on why would you have this baby with Down syndrome? He's going to be special needs. He's going to need a lot of attention. And it was just like, you weren't given much hope. No, but that's I still chose him. I remember when my doctor called me, it was probably like 12 o'clock after the appointment, and she gave me the news and I cried because I never saw myself being a mom of special needs, but I never was against it. I welcome all children. They all need love. And I just remember like, God, I need you to help me with my decision. And in that moment, God said, this soul, because I wasn't referring to him as a baby or anything. I didn't have a name. I just remember calling him a soul, a soul, a soul. This soul picked you because they know your heart. They know you're caring. This soul knows that you will advocate to the best of your ability for the greatest quality of care because you're in social work. You help people. You advocate for people. And I was like, you know what? If this soul could pick me, I could pick this soul back. Mm-hmm. Like you chose Noah. Exactly. I chose Prince
and when I spoke with you, that initial conversation, I saw myself. I saw that desperation and just wanting a little bit of hope. I knew you wanted to keep your baby. I knew you wanted to keep your baby. So it was just like, okay, girl, I'm going to give you all the information you need and you're going to make the best decision. But I knew in my heart what your decision was going to be. It was just hearing from someone else that went through it and it's okay.
Yeah.
It didn't kill me. I'm still going through it and I'm still living and I'm happy and I'm enjoying this baby. So when you called me again and was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep up, I was like, yeah, I knew that. I knew that. And it was just amazing talking with you throughout your pregnancy, just seeing you move forward with the pregnancy. And I was happy to see that. I was very happy to see that. And I want to get to the most difficult part of this conversation, which is when you gave birth to your baby boy, which was such a beautiful moment and it was short lived. So, can you just tell us the day that he came into this world? Just share with us what you experienced.
It was a scheduled induction that was supposed to be for December 8th. I was supposed to check into the hospital, and I just felt once my doctor, who I was doing prenatal care with, wasn't available, that should have kind of told me something, but I didn't really think much of it. So I checked into the hospital. We checked in, and then I think I went into the room close to like 2 a.m. and I was contracting. I was like 2 centimeters. And I remember just taking a shower and just going to sleep. And then they did the Pitocin with the balloon method, but nothing really worked. Like 7 something, my water just broke naturally. And I was like, oh, it's happening. And then my son's father was like, oh my God, we need a nurse. But I've been through it. He never witnessed childbirth before. So I was like, no, it's not that soon. So like 9 in the morning, they gave me the epidural, but it didn't fully kick in. And then that baby was coming like 9:36. I pushed him out and I just felt like this spiritual awakening over me. As soon as I pushed him out, I just started crying.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, he's so beautiful.
Did you see the Down syndrome?
No, I didn't at first. I just saw like a little light baby. And I was like, oh my God, he's so beautiful. And I remember his nose. Like it was like a button nose. And I just kept kissing him. And he was puffy. He was really swollen. And I was like, oh. But then it was short lived. They said that his sugar levels were dropping, so they had to rush him to the NICU. And everything from there just kind of got really, really confusing. I didn't get to feed him. The nurse was very sweet. I was freaking out and panicking because I wanted to be with him. And she sent me videos while he was in the NICU. Like, you could still hear it to this day. They asked, why are you taking videos of the baby? And she was like, this is for mom. I needed that sense of relief. And I just kept asking, like, when I could see him, when I could see him, when I could see him, when I could see him. And it took hours before they finally took me to the NICU. And I never wanted to leave his side. Like, he was so beautiful.
He was perfect.
Yeah, he was perfect. I remember within the first couple of hours, we did kangaroo, whereas you skin to skin, and he was holding my finger. And I'm like, this baby don't even know me.
He knew you.
I'm like,
he knew you.
I'm like, he don't know me, but then when he was holding my finger, I'm like, he know I'm his mom. Like, I'm his mom. I'm like, this is so beautiful. Like, I put him right here, and he just kept falling down in my gown, and I'm like, I just got to take pictures and videos of him. And then, he was born on December 9th, 2021, and unfortunately, on December 12th, 2021, he passed away.
I don't know if you're able to talk much about that situation, but what did they tell you? Why did he pass?
He was diagnosed with NEC, which is necrotizing enterocolitis, which is a gastrointestinal infection caused by formula.
And was there any way that they could have known that to prevent?
I'm unsure. It's a lot of unanswered questions. I had to rely heavily on God to try to find out what happened, why it happened, just put the pieces together. For legal reasons, I really can't go into depth. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen the advertisements on social media, TV, radio stations, and things like that may result in a settlement.
Okay. So I know it was difficult just going through the depression from your diagnosis to then accepting this pregnancy and the assignment of having this child, and then you have this beautiful baby, you're excited, you're happy, and then it's short lived because he passes away. So now you're dealing with grief all over again, depression. I know just from recently losing my grandmother how difficult that is, but I could only imagine how painful it is to lose a child. That's the unimaginable for me.
So it was like a double whammy. I give grace to myself because I was able to be there for his last moments. I actually held him while he passed away. I felt his soul leave his body. So I'm thankful that I was able to comfort him in his last moment. I feel it would have been more devastating if I didn't get that opportunity. If I would have just got a call from the hospital saying, unfortunately, your baby passed away. I did get a call saying that it didn't look like he was gonna make it through the night. And all I could remember, I needed to hold him. I just kept rocking him and I kept saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I feel like he needed to get something from me, which was my comfort and my love. And he needed to give me something before he went to the other side. So I do thank God for that opportunity. Because I think if I would have been able, if I would have seen him in a morgue, it would have been more hurtful.
Yeah, it would have.
Because a large part of the grieving process, I spent blaming myself. What could I have done differently? Could I have advocated for him more? And I learned from like the
But you didn't know.
autopsy,
You
yeah,
didn't
and
know.
like therapy, like there was literally nothing that I could have did. I did what I was supposed to do as his mom. I planned his funeral. I set him off in a horse and carriage as the prince he came into the world. I let him go back in
To heaven.
yeah. To see a little 3-day-old baby in the casket was like, wow. I just remember seeing him and like I just want to pick him up. He looked so doll like. He looked innocent and he was a doll baby.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest regrets, not coming to the hospital. I remember you text me and you said I had the baby. And I said, oh, wow. And I was doing the construction here and I was dusty. So I said,
You did say that.
I was like, I'm dusty. I don't want to come see you, dusty. And I said, I'll come see you tomorrow. And you said, no, just wait till I get home. You said, wait till I get settled. And I regret that so much because I wanted to at least meet him in person.
His sister never got to meet him until like I had to make a difficult decision. Do she meet him at a funeral or do she meet him while he's dying? And I made the decision to bring her to the hospital with me. She never got to hold him, kiss him, give him any affection. I never got visitors in the hospital. So I went from having a baby to grieving all at once. And I don't think people understand.
That's an emotional roller coaster. Like, you went from your highs and then just straight down to the lowest. That's hard. That's hard.
And then it's like postpartum depression. It's like she just gave birth and now she have to plan a funeral. Everything just happened so fast. It felt surreal. It was a nightmare.
You was like in a state of shock. And how did you pick up the pieces after, well, especially after the funeral? Because I know once you got out the hospital, it was more about planning his funeral. So that kind of distracted you. But once that was done, here you are in your house, you have the baby stuff. What was your next step? How did you navigate the depression? Did you deal with anxiety?
So my anxiety was very, very high because I do have an adult daughter. So I had to keep checking on her to make sure she was alive. It was like a heightened sense of security. I needed to know her whereabouts. I felt like I was going to lose my other child. I know it was overwhelming to her and I apologized to her a lot because I never wanted her to feel like I was overwhelmed. But I needed to like really know that she was going to be okay. I just lost my baby. And then it was just like, everything was raw. I got a birth certificate. I received his social security card, the Medicaid card. I was like, wow. And then a couple of weeks, you got a death certificate. Like, this is crazy.
And it was right before Christmas, I remember. And
so I remember I picked a good funeral home. Karina Funeral Home. They was very, very sweet. I wanted to see him again before Christmas. They did not want me to go to the morgue at all. They said, no, we will go get him and we will allow you to see him at the funeral home. They was like, you do not need that vision. You already see him that way. You don't need to see him in the morgue. They did go get him, and I seen him, I think Christmas Eve, because Christmas was a Sunday. I think Christmas was a Saturday, they was closed. I seen him for Christmas Eve, and I just kept looking at him and taking videos and pictures like, this was not supposed to be our Christmas. Like, we were supposed to have matching pajamas, a Christmas tree. And the funeral was on December 26th of 2021. And they allowed me all the time after the funeral that I needed. And then it was over. I was like, wow. I did find a support group. I'm not really sure how I found it. It was a support group for families, and that was really, really helpful. I was with 4 to 5 other couples who went through loss. Their loss was different from mine. I was the only person in there who had a live baby, but that doesn't take away from their experience.
Well, were they stillbirths?
Yeah, they all experienced stillbirths. And we stay in contact to this day. All of them have had successful pregnancies and healthy babies.
After their loss?
Yeah, I'm skeptical about going through that again. I don't want to relive that experience. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Do you ever think about God still giving you an assignment and what that assignment might have been, even though it didn't have the outcome that you predicted? Do you think about it? Like what was God expecting from me with this tragedy and with everything that I've experienced?
I think I needed to know self-love. I needed to reevaluate my self-worth. That baby gave me a different kind of love that I've been looking for a long time. I remember even with my pregnancy with my daughter, the reason why I decided to have her because I felt like I was missing out on something. And I feel like God gave him to teach me. You deserve more out of life. You deserve more out of love. And you need to love yourself first. You got to put yourself first. Those 3 days with him in the real world was really worth the 37 weeks and 1 day that I did have during pregnancy, because a lot of women don't experience that. The women in my support group, they never got to that. They had to deliver stillbirths. They never made it full term, unfortunately. So I do thank God for that experience. Like, I got to meet my baby in the real world.
I said that to you because I've communicated with Down syndrome moms who said I had the baby, but the baby didn't make it.
Yeah.
Or for some reason, these pregnancies are risky.
Yes.
They're very risky.
Over 35, they consider that high risk
high
as
risk.
well for us.
Yeah. So what have you done since then to just navigate all of the feelings, the depression, and everything that comes with it?
So this may come as a shock to some, but I did check myself into the psych ward. I was hospitalized in the psychiatric unit for a week because I kept having an overwhelming desire to commit suicide. Water was very precedent. For some reason, I just kept feeling this urge to drive into water and just see my baby again. It was very, very rough. I just stick with therapy. I have been prescribed medication. I've been on several medications. Some have helped, some have not. So I'm just working with my psychiatrist to see what is the best fit for me. And I feel the new medication that I'm on is helping. I feel human again. I feel like I'm in touch with my reality. I'm in touch with my emotions. One medication, it made me feel extremely numb and robotic. I wasn't able to cry, I wasn't able to feel, and now I feel like I'm able to feel, which is normal.
I mean, you have to, that's a normal feeling. You lost your baby. You lost the baby that you fought so hard to just have into this world. Like, it's expected for you to grieve, you know? My thing is you turn your pain into power. Because had you not told me what you were going through, I mean, I imagined behind closed doors what you were experiencing, but on social media, I saw a very powerful woman. The Saadia I've been seeing doing the makeup tutorials, and just even advocating for your child and the condition that cost him his life. That right there, I'm just like, wow, she's really now speaking her truth. And that's very admirable. And I'm proud of you. I know it's been difficult, but I'm proud of you because I don't know how I would have dealt with that. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. Knowing you experienced that I was stuck for a while. I was just like, why? This is so unfair.
It was confusing because, like, I just posted on social media, I had the baby. And then a couple of days later, it's like, I'm sorry to inform you, but my baby passed away. People like, wait, what? I was like, wait, what? And then I had to think about my firstborn. She still needs her mom.
Yes.
It's unfair to her that I can't be present. So I had to be mindful of that. And I think what really, because I've been through depression for many, many years. And one thing I made a pact to say, Saadia, y'all have to make sure y'all shower daily and eat. That was a big, big thing for me to go through depression. Because when I go through a deep depression, this is how I know and recognize it. I stop showering. It's not that I don't want to be clean. It's just like I just don't have no desire to get in the shower. And it's like, wait a minute, you didn't take a shower for 2 days, something is going on. I need you to hit the water. Even it's like being grounded again. Mm-hmm. The water has to touch my body. It's not really about cleansing. Hot water needs to touch my body. So I made sure, and I kept doing therapy. My sessions were weekly instead of being monthly. And my therapist was really supportive through it. I did have some good family and friends who would send food, who would check on me. I don't think nobody really knew how to.
They don't know what to say. It's one of those things that, what do I say? There are no words to really like make it go away or fix it. So it's difficult. Like I felt I don't know, how can I explain? I kind of felt like, dag, I felt bad that I had my child and you didn't. So I just didn't know if me even sometimes communicating with you was a good thing.
And I had to recognize that in myself. I couldn't go to baby showers. I wasn't happy for others. Not that I was sad for them or like I was envy or jealous, but I just knew I couldn't be present for anybody who just had a baby, who was expecting a baby. It took me a while to go attend birthdays. People who I were pregnant with, they wanted to share pictures of babies, and I do want to say thank you to everybody who was respectful and who was kind during this process, who was like, let me think of her. Is it okay if I send you a picture? Is it okay if I share this with you? I really appreciated that. That was so sweet. Instead of just bombarding me at the funeral, they like that people honor my request to not touch him, to not take pictures of him. I felt he wasn't for the outside world, he was just for me. So I wanted to keep that bond sacred, and they respected that. I'm the only one who had videos and pictures of him. Like, and I look back at it, I talk to him. I feel like he is okay. He's not suffering. He sent me ladybugs. I haven't received none in a while, so I know that he went over the right way. He's with God. God has my baby.
And I honestly think that he's going to be your little angel forever.
He is
forever.
He makes sure that I'm okay. I remember like 2022, 2023, when I was having a bad time, I'd just be like, can you send me a sign that everything is okay? That I got ladybugs. For my birthday, I was like, just send me a ladybug. I got a ladybug. So I know that he was very, very special. And he serves his purpose. It was up to me to find solitude and peace in his passing. I'm not all the way there, but I do find peace.
I do think that you are a sign of strength. You are a role model to a lot of people going through something. I mean, to have had a diagnosis like that and to make the courageous decision to move forward with it, then having the baby and losing the baby, and then still being present for your daughter and for yourself. That takes a lot of courage. And you just showed how you just, even though you're still going through moments, because we all go through our moments, God knows I go through moments and I have my child with me. You understand? So I get it. But seeing you, sometimes I'm just like, wow, she is a powerful woman. I don't know where she gets the strength from. It could only be God, of course, but I just sit back and watch and say, wow, What doesn't kill you make you stronger, and you are a true testament of that.
And they say there's no testimony without a test. I think what really is empowering is like yourself. We get the direct messages from other women who are going through similar situations and they say, you inspired me or you helped me live another day. Like, wow, I didn't think like my makeup tutorials or hair tutorials or even my inspirational speeches meant that much to you. Or it could be a woman that I just took the time to answer her DM. She was having a hard day and just said, you know what, let me reach out. And I'm like, what you did with me? You saw the message, you decided to reach out, you gave me your time. And it's like a lot of women be like, thank you. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think that it was impactful at the moment. I just thought that I was being a human being.
But you know what? You, without knowing, you are helping. So, because you helped me when my grandmother passed away. I remember seeing your tutorials and you looked so beautiful. And then you posted that you were going to the gym. And I reached out and I said, listen, I need to go to the gym because I'm going through something. I feel like I need to just work out and get my mind right, get my body right. And you were definitely part of that support for me during that time of grief. So even if it's just a video, you don't know how that is going to affect someone else. And honestly, I realized that just doing what I do on Noah's page and just having that platform, that I'm just being organic. I'm being myself. And sometimes I do it because that's how I process things. But honestly, it also helps so many other people. Yeah. And it's not till they DM me, because people write comments, but there's a lot of people that don't like to write comments under posts because I guess they just don't want to be seen. Yeah. But I get DMs where people are just telling me so many personal things. And it's just like, wow. I might have posted it just trying to deal with it, or at the moment just felt like, you know what, God is talking to me. God is telling me to post this. I'm going to post it. But it actually is helping someone else.
I think that's what I take most from it. God designed me to help other people, and in turn, God helped me. I used to be mad that certain people didn't show up for me, including family and friends. And I'm just like, all you're doing is hindering yourself with that anger. You gotta learn how to let it go. And I just take it one day at a time.
I felt the same way when I was in the hospital with Noah, and just a lot of times in the hospital, no one would call to check up on me and say, hey, do you need anything? Or just visit me and spend time with me. And I was angry, especially my family. I was very angry. But I realized with time that it wasn't that they weren't supportive. A lot of them, number one, just didn't know how to come at me. And they saw that I was on social media. They probably figured, like, she's good. If she's posting and she's talking about it, she's good.
When you're seen as a strong friend, it's
exactly.
Like, she got this. Nobody don't really know how to be there for you. But I'm learning how to teach my family and friends how to reach out more. Like, yes, I seem strong on social media or my real life, or I may not choose to like vet, because I've started this new thing where I just like, I don't want to unload on people. I don't want to be always the one that's always venting. Like, that's what I have a therapist for, to process things that happen in my life professionally, because everybody is not equipped to deal with that. It could be a burden to some people. Sometimes it's a lot to go through.
And that's one of the reasons why I talk about what I go through with Noah on his page, because sometimes speaking to friends and family is too much for them. There's been times I had to vent to friends or family members, and they'll start crying and they're just like, oh my God. And I don't want to do that to them. So that's why I rather just post and just talk about it, read it after I post it so I could kind of process it again. And it helps me. It's just my coping mechanism. And at the same time, I don't hold anyone responsible as far as like being there for me and helping me just deal with certain things. I don't want to be that person. So I rather have an audience that probably is going through the same thing or something similar, or knowledgeable with what I'm going through, that can help me get through that. So I get it. I totally get it. I get it.
I just go to my therapist. Like she's been with me for like 4 or 5 years, so we always got something new to talk about or process. Like, and I feel like it's been an emotional roller coaster, but I really, really am an advocate for addressing your mental health. Nobody is too good to get mental health services, whether you need psychotherapy and or medication management. There's nothing wrong with getting treatment. I feel like in the Black community, we don't want to recognize that we need help until it's too late. And I like that certain platforms are allowing people to genuinely share their life experiences because they might not be able to afford therapy. So it's like this is therapy. Like,
That's how it was for me.
yeah, it's like
That's what it was
like
for me.
therapy. It's a community. We have created a community where we could be ourselves. We could be vulnerable. We could be transparent. And I love it. Like I love sharing this. I love that you invited me to be on your podcast. Like,
thank you.
I needed this emotional.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think you was going to do it. Because in the past I've asked you to go live and you agreed, and then you were like, Yami, I can't. So I was unsure if you was ready. I was really unsure if you were ready. And I said, you know what? I'm going to reach out and hopefully she can share with us what she's been through. I think I'm okay in my journey where I could speak on it. I just never wanted my story or my baby to be ridiculed or people to poke fun because he is that special to me. That bond that we created, I hold that very, very deeply. And I just don't want it to be forsaken. I really love that baby. I will always love him. Of course. Of course. It's hard. I can't imagine. But I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of you because that could have really broken you. Like I said, this is not for the weak. Being in a psych ward for a week is not easy. But you got out of it. Yeah. You went through the storm and you got out of it. And that's the important part. You know, just like even with me, with my diagnosis, it was hard. It was difficult. I see babies born Down syndrome. I'm like, I'm kind of living through them. Like, yes, I may not have my baby physically, but I'm just living through other people and it's okay. And I just made the decision like late 2024 to part with all of the belongings, the nursery set. It wasn't easy. I wanted to hold on to it, but I had to be realistic with myself. Like, there are other people in this world who don't have the means to acquire these things, and you could be a blessing to somebody else. So it made me feel really good to donate a lot of his items to families in need. That's good. I saw the post and I was like, wow, she's partying. She's ready. She's ready to move forward. And I think this is something that you'll never get over. It's a part of you, but you never get over grief. You just learn how to deal with it as you know. Every day is just like a different journey. One day people may see I'm happy on social media. I may post I'm in the nightclub or lounge and I'm just like, ah. And then the next day I'm just a whole mess, crying and stuff like that. Cause it's like, wait, I really don't got my baby. So when I see other people with their kids going to school, I'm like, right now I would have a soon to be 4-year old and I'm supposed to be doing pre-K and he's supposed to be laying next to me and we're supposed to be preparing meals. I had a whole plan, go to Legoland and Disney and celebrate birthdays, but I could live through my daughter. I'm very, very proud of her. Like, she is doing everything right in life. She's graduating from college. She has a career. Me and her bond has gotten stronger. That's good. Are trusting of one another. We are loving on each other. We are caring, and we realize that we all we got. We family, and family mean a lot to me. Yeah. It's great when you have that support system because you're helping each other get through it. Because I'm sure this was devastating for her as well. She's in her own therapy. I allow her the space to be vulnerable and comfortable. I'm not overwhelming. I'm not pushy. Whenever she needs to come talk to me, I'm like, I'm here for you. Everybody is not the same. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. So it's true. It's true. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. I know this was difficult. It was. I've been trying to keep it together for you, and I know how difficult it was. And I can't tell you how sorry I am that things turned out the way they are. But I do believe that God doesn't make any mistakes, and your journey is your journey, and it's your journey for a reason. So just continue to believe in God and trust that everything is going to fall into place. Because with me, with Noah, I feel that way. I'm just like, they gave me the worst case scenario when it came to my child. He's not going to be able to walk. He might not make it. He might just live for 2 hours after his birth. Like the worst case scenarios. And that wasn't the case. And now that I'm seeing it, I'm like, wow, that was the test. God, that was the test.
He's a blessing. He overcame and you overcame. And look at where y'all at now.
Mm-hmm. Look at where we are now.
Thank you. I needed this emotional relief.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Down with Yami. Remember, it's okay to feel overwhelmed. Many of us do. The journey of raising a special needs child comes with so many mixed feelings, and acknowledging these feelings is a vital step towards healing. As we navigate these challenges together, let's prioritize our mental well-being and seek this. If you're struggling, please reach out to someone you trust or a mental health professional. Remember, you're alone in this journey, so stay down with me.